There will be no more Department of Education if Donald Trump has anything to say about it. This is kind of upsetting to one Maxine Waters, who got the news on Friday somehow and tried to demand a meeting with Linda McMahon, who's now our new head of education, Department of Education. Of course, her job, if she does it successfully, is to unwind the Department of Education, which has been there all since, the 1970s with none other than Jimmy Carter. So Maxine heard about this and she lost it. And I just say, you know what? This guy deserves an award. This is the security guard putting up with Maxine Waters. I can watch this.
Look them in the eye. Come on, hold your face up. Look at him. Let him see you. This is him. Look at it. What's your name? Tell us your name. Give me that ID again.
Giving you the ID, I showed it to you.
So what?
I showed you the ID.
You do what?
I showed you the ID.
Could you let me see the ID again? Huh?
No.
No? Will someone else ask him for the ID? Will you ask him for it? He won't let me see it again. You didn't see it. You didn't see it. They didn't see it. I didn't.
What a good guy, right? He's just like, no, you can't come in. I've locked the building. You don't have an appointment. You can't come in. And Maxine's losing it. You see, a lot of people are losing it right now. They don't like the idea of the Department of Education going away. But Donald Trump, once again, here he is trying to pare this down and say, you know what, maybe the states do a better job at this. Just like with FEMA, maybe the states do a better job at allocating capital because they have a better sense of where it's needed. Well, immediately where they're going with this is somehow that this is a racist thing, that, black students are going to be at a disadvantage if the education department is shuttered. And let me give you their explanation for it here. They say educators warn that the loss of the federal agency will exacerbate racial disparities in schools across the nation, including in universities and colleges. Quote, since 2020, there have been some true coordination and attacks on public education as we know it, and I think the current administration is challenging what it means for us to provide a public education for all students, says this one Jaleesa Evans, founder and CEO of the Black Educator Advocates Network, to The Hill. But, Trump's saying, wait a second, we're not doing a very good job at this. Clearly, the Department of Education doesn't seem to know what it's doing because we rank really poorly every year. We get worse and worse and worse. It's gotten worse since COVID. And so maybe there's a better way to think about this. Maybe it shouldn't be all top down. Maybe you shouldn't have a big bloated government. Maybe you find a way for the states to take more responsibility in terms of educating their kids. Wouldn't that make sense to you? Makes sense to me. Well, they're furious. They're furious and they're saying, you know what? We're going to shut down the government over this, which I find kind of ironic because I think Donald Trump and Elon Musk, by the way, and Doge would be just delighted if they shut down the government for a little bit and save some money.
My next question, because your colleague Jeff Merkley basically said he's prepared to try to shut down the government over some of these sledgehammer actions that he's seeing by Elon Musk. Are you prepared to shut down the government, to join Democratic colleagues who want to stand in the way of keeping the government open?
Well, you have to look at what the Trump administration is doing right now. They are simply trying to, they are simply trying to dismantle the government. So yes, look, if we have to take steps to be able to hold them accountable, use the leverage that we have to force it, I cannot support efforts that will continue this lawlessness that we're seeing when it comes to this administration's actions. And for us to be able to support government funding in that way, only for them to turn it around to dismantle the government, that is not something that should be allowed.
So just to be clear, Senator, you are open to voting yes to shut down the government, to make this point.
This is on them. This is about whether or not they can get the votes. They are the majority, and if they cannot govern, then that's for the American people to see. But I worked in government. I worked through multiple government shutdowns. I would be the last person to want to get to that stage. But we are at a point where we are basically on the cusp of a constitutional crisis, seeing this administration taking steps that are so clearly illegal. And until we see a change in that behavior, we should not allow and condone that, nor should we assist in that.
Senator,
I hate to break it to you, Senator, and that's the junior senator from New Jersey that replaced the super corrupt one. Remember Menendez? I hate to break it to you, but you know what? People appreciate this right now. I'm going to get to his approval ratings in a second, but they appreciate this because you know what? They're sick and tired of their hard-earned money going nowhere. We got a mess of a society right now. We got nothing to show for all those taxpayer dollars that are being spent. Just look at, you can go back to the Department of Education, where we stand in the world in the lousy rankings. Listen, it's got to change.